Hello, everybody. We kept the best for the end, and here it is. So the subject is mindsets, lifestyle, and their impact on business and work. I would like to begin by giving a brief interpretation or definition of lifestyles. Actually, lifestyles are demonstrated through the choices that we make on an everyday basis in order to solve problems. You can have, for example, somebody waking up in the morning, hopping on his car, stopping by a fancy breakfast place to pick up a sandwich, and then continue driving to his office in the middle of the financial center of a city and making lots of money in his workplace. This is some years ago. That could be a yuppie. Alternatively, we can have somebody who wakes up early in the morning, but goes for a run, returns home, squeezes a fresh orange, and then hops on public transportation to go to a co-working location, actually. That could be a hipster. So you see that the same problems are addressed by people in different ways, and they create or define their lifestyles. Lifestyles are not static. They have evolved over time, and they are the result of the different fundamental trends that have been dominating each decade or era. For example, in the 60s, we have the hippies. The hippies are a lifestyle that actually embraced the fundamental trends of the times, of liberalization, human rights sensitivity, emancipation of women, and a bigger openness to the world. On the 70s, actually, we have a lifestyle that is the yippies. Actually, they are a reaction lifestyle to liberalization, neoliberal movements, the first crisis of oil, and tension in the world. We move to the preppies in the 80s. It's the era after the Cold War. Actually, new markets are being created, and university graduates from top schools in the US are taking over business positions to drive that growth. In the 90s, we have the yuppies. They're the people who think that the world is unlimited, there is unlimited wealth, and they want to show it in their lifestyles. They take over positions in multinationals, travel around the world, invest, and make a lot of money. Nowadays, we have the hipsters. They're the generation that is interpreting globalization and embracing globalization in a very different way, not in a way of showing the lifestyle and the wealth, rather in a way of integrating different elements from various countries in their everyday lives. And their relationship with resources and the environment is also very different. They have a scarcity mindset. But this is the past. We believe that in the future, 6 fundamental trends are going to impact lifestyles. And these are some of which you have seen already. These are demographics, resource constraints, food concerns, the speed of change, technology, and social interaction. And I will walk you through. So demographics, we have aging population, but we also have increasing migration and a good representation of women, at least in the Western world, in the work environment. Regarding resource constraints, we're running out of water, and we need to create more energy in order to sustain our lifestyles, and at the same time, we're running out of space in order to produce our food. Regarding food concern, people are interested in what they eat, and they want it to be healthy. The traceability of ingredients is important, and GMOs are actually growing. Product life cycles become shorter and shorter, and products are obsolete very quickly. Increased specialization drives further innovation, while knowledge is obsolete very quickly as well. Regarding technology, big data, you saw the presentation, is going to shape the way we work in the future, but is also impacting the present. Technological advancements have eliminated professions that 10 years ago were actually very common, and mass customization is threatening economies of scale. Some of us, not me, are dating on the internet. Our friends are around the world, and we interact with them in real time, and Some other people actually are buying stuff on the internet for virtual avatars. Understanding the implication of each one of these for your business creates business opportunities. For example, we have a lifestyle that's called off the grid. It's a new lifestyle that is going to become more and more prevalent in the future. What is this about? These people actually are people who have families, and they know that they will have to stay in the workplace for longer, but they're fed up with all the speed of change in the workplace and all the stress that's around it. So they decide to move outside of the cities. And maybe they even grow their own food in their gardens. They work from home several days of the week, and they leverage big data and the technology in order to do so. And at the same time, they're connected with their families and friends through the internet. There are more lifestyles that I won't walk you through because of time. So what this means for you, defining your business choices through lifestyles might be useful, but is not necessarily sufficient. Because lifestyles are demonstrations of decisions already made. So probably your competitors are already monetizing these lifestyles. Second, not everyone adopts the lifestyles to the same degree. You can have, for example, two hipsters, and probably they have very different lifestyles, yet they both fall into the same category. What drives this variation? And this is very important. This is the mindsets. Mindsets precede lifestyles. Mindset is the value set that we carry with us and allow us to respond to a lifestyle, to a trend that becomes eventually a lifestyle. And this is manifested through our customer choices that we make. Understanding this and understanding where your customers fall into their mindset allow you to define your business opportunities. In order to tap into these business opportunities, I will pass it on to Daniel, who will help you understand how to sharpen your strategies around that concept.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So we have heard that mindsets are leading indicators of lifestyles. So the challenge that comes to our business is how do we segment our customers, not in terms of lifestyles, as we usually do, but in terms of mindsets. To do that, we have to introduce the concept of mindset typologies. And to present it, we're going to use a 2x2 matrix. On the vertical axis, we have lifestyle change. It can be yes or no, binary variable. On the horizontal one, we have the mindset change. So this gives us 4 quadrants to play with. The first one that we're going to review are the yes quadrants. These people who have not only the will to change the way they live, but also the courage to do it. And this is what we call the courage and vigor typology. So on the opposite sides, we have the people, the no quadrant. These people who really don't want to change, and they don't do it. This is what we call status quo. So this is so far not the new part. The most interesting part is about the other 2 quadrants that we call stress points. The first one is about these people who wants to change. They have a new mindset. We can call it new generation, many things. But for some reason, they are not changing the way they live. This is what we call the fear quadrant, the fear mindset. Why is this happening? Basically, because there is something that we call barriers. And there are different types. We can call them tradition, we can call them social pressure, or it's even lack of information. But the fact is that they want to do something that they are not doing, and they don't feel comfortable in this place. On the opposite side of the matrix, we have the forced people. These people who are somehow forced to change the way they live, but they don't like it. They don't really believe on what they are doing differently. What does this mean in terms of consumer or customer understanding? We can deep dive into different subtypologies. In the case of courage and vigor, we have what we call idealistic realism, accelerated mindset, connected thinking. These are all proactive typologies. On the other side, we have the opposite kind of static mindsets, fixed mindset, linear thinking, silo thinking. On the fear one, probably there are many. The most representative one is about complexity mindset. These people who is obsessed about the things they cannot control, and that's why they don't move. And the last one is about, we have two. One is called singularity mindset, and the other one is crossing the force discontinuity. That is something about not being able to live without technology. But so far, we have acknowledged that we have 4 quadrants and a new way to segment our customers. What does this mean in terms of our business? So if we have a new segmentation, that means that we need to develop a new strategic approach. Let's illustrate this with the lifestyle that we just showed, the off-the-grid. So the off-the-grid people, let's say, are these people that change both mindset and lifestyle. On the other side, we have these people who haven't changed, for example, baby boomers, either early or late baby boomers. Okay? And in the last ones, we have, again, the 2 stress points, fear and force. So let's make an exercise. Let's assume that you are selling a product or a service for this new lifestyle. You see this opportunity, there is more off-the-grid people, and you want to sell them something. Which strategy should you use? The first one that we can recommend is when you focus on the first quadrant, it's about nurturing this segment, trying to, of course, get these customers and build loyalty on them. On the other side, we have the people who is not willing to change. And the strategy for this might be to ignore them. I know it's hard to think about ignoring potential customers, but the reality is that these people are not in your market. They are not in your target. They don't want it, and they are not buying it. When we go to fear quadrant, which can be the strategy? It's about removing the barriers. Why is these people not buying the category or the product that you are selling? If you invest on removing these barriers, these people will move from here up to the off-grid lifestyle. And finally, we have a very interesting one, that is the fourth one. These people are already probably buying your product. They are buying the category. So you think, oh, great, I made the sale. The reality is that these are the most unloyal consumers you have. And they are looking for a way out. So when they see the next trend, they will go with the next trend. So which strategy can you use? So identify the next trend and be prepared. So how does this translate into, let's say, our product adoption curves? Because we are introducing a new product into a market. Who is buying from us? The good news is that we can correlate these 4 quadrants with the basic adoption curve that probably we all know. So we can say that the courage and vigor are closely linked to these innovators. The first one to give the initial step. The followers are the first ones who are moving there. Why? Because of the fashion. They have some social pressure that tell them, I need to do something, I need to move, I need to change my lifestyle, even if I don't like it, but I'm here. Who is following? The fear ones. After some time of investing, removing the barriers, these people from fear will change the way they act. And finally, we have the laggards that come from the status quo quadrant. At some point, they might come. Why? For example, one of these reasons is lack of availability. Someone wants to buy probably a film camera, but you cannot find the film camera anymore, so you have to change your way of taking pictures. So how this happens in real life? So let's talk about some examples and some market strategies that we have witnessed in the market. The first one is about Expedia. So a company who was focusing on the quadrant of people with a new mindset, people who thought that could buy and live and decide their life based on the internet. So they started selling plane tickets. Now they can sell everything, hotels, car rentals, everything. So they expanded their portfolio based on that, targeting one specific quadrant. On the other side, we have companies that are focused on the people who don't want to change, and they are leveraging on the tradition. And they are doing a very successful business out of this. But what happened when the market potential is in the other 2 quadrants? Let's talk about Tesla. It's clearly a company that is uprising, and we all talk about Tesla, but what's the magic about Tesla? Why is so important? Why is the growth expectation of Tesla so big? Because they found they discovered that there was a huge potential on tapping into this quadrant. These people who knows that driving their usual car pollutes, but still they cannot change to an electric car because they want a cool car, they want a prestigious car, they want something fancy. So they are developing, they have developed a whole new business model based on targeting these consumers, not the ones who were already buying electric cars up here, probably, the ones who haven't bought the electric cars. The last one is about the fourth quadrant. And we get a company such as Zara that have developed, again, a new business model for these people who maybe they like fashion, they don't like fashion, but for sure they feel forced to be in fashion. They need to buy something about the new collection. And that's why Zara developed a whole new business model based on launching new collections all the time. The concept here is, if you're going to segment in a different way, you have to think your strategies in a different way. But this is not only about companies. What happens when you are thinking about attracting talent to your organizations? That, for sure, that's a challenge. So if we apply the same model to organization strategies, we can think about companies such as Verizon that have understood the way of thinking, changing the mindset, and as an organization, they changed the mindset and they changed the lifestyle of the organization itself. This translates into very specific benefits or specific actions. Gym on site, mobility at work, work-life balance, this new concept that probably didn't exist 20 years ago. But we have some other companies that are in a different position, such as Microsoft, a company that acknowledges that needs to change from an organizational point of view, but is still struggling to do it because their lifestyle is still not there. And this is a challenge for them when they perform any recruiting task, and you have to compare about some other peers with a different mindset and a different lifestyle. But finally, we can also talk about governments, and we have been talking about Japan a lot, and the women in the workforce as well. So women in the workforce in Japan are not necessarily present, because the mindset and the lifestyle is for these women to at some point leave the workforce and don't come back. And the government is building, as someone mentioned before, the institutions to take them into the market. What this means in terms of this model is that they are trying to do this. Take people who really are not necessarily thinking about working. Let's say it's not about women, it's about the social mindset. It's not on women working, and trying to make them change their lifestyle. So, to conclude, I would like to ask you some questions for you to think, and the questions that we all need to ask ourselves. What mindsets do the end users of your products have? What is the relative market size of its mindset typology for your business? And the final one is, do you have the right strategy to face the mindset evolution in your industry? Thank you very much.